Good evening. Henry here. Actually, my friends call me Harry. Harry and Rollo here for you, and like to welcome you here this evening to an exciting time. Welcome to Winterfest, sponsored by Discover Doylestown. We have an exciting and interesting season this year. Because of COVID, we're going to be doing a few things a little differently. But look out for every Tuesday and Thursday evening, as we're going to have special guests read stories to you online. And on Wednesdays, we're going to have the good old jolly Saint Nick, well, get those letters written up, because he's going to read your letters online from you for everybody else to hear. So please, join us with this exciting time of year, coming out, discovering Doylestown, having a wonderful time. And remember, if you go shopping, keep an eye out for our jolly friend Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Frosty the Snowman. But when you're out and you're shopping, don't forget to wear your mask.
She has 3 presents. He grabbed the Nutcracker from Marie and tossed him in the air.
All of the other reindeer. Olive was too shy to sing.
I wonder what will happen. The elves arrived to help.
You never go
everyone
out,
make
and this is such a fine opportunity. I had great trouble to get it. Everyone wants to go. It is very
Santa
select.
circled once above us and then disappeared into the cold, dark, polar
On
sky.
Christmas Eve, we get out the ornaments. Some were Grandpa's when he was a little boy.
This is not a house. Well, I know. It's a castle. Fontaine Castle.
on. Here arose such a clatter. I sprung from the bed to see what was the matter.
The Nutcracker by Susan Jeffers. It was Christmas Eve at the Stahlbaum's house. Marie and her little brother Fritz were listening at the ballroom door, waiting for the party to begin. Everyone was dancing when the last guest arrived. "Godfather!" cried Marie, rushing back to greet him. Herr Drosselmeyer was not only Marie's godfather, but he was also a famous toy maker. He could make toys that moved and clocks that called the hours as sweetly as a nightingale. Herr Drosselmeyer brought presents for the children. He gave Fritz a box of toy soldiers. For Marie, there were 2 dolls, Harlequin and Columbine, who danced with each other. "I have another present for you, Marie," said Herr Drosselmeyer, handing her a wooden nutcracker. "I want you to take good care of him." "Not fair," shouted Fritz. "She has 3 presents." He grabbed the nutcracker from Marie and tossed him in the air. The nutcracker crashed to the floor and broke his head. "So what?" jeered Fritz. "It was an ugly thing." Herr Drosselmeyer bound Nutcracker's head with his handkerchief. Tenderly, Marie took Nutcracker into her arms. She put him under the Christmas tree. Outside in the street, the carriages waited. After a flurry of goodbyes, Fritz and Marie went up to bed. But poor Nutcracker is all alone, thought Marie. Tiptoeing back downstairs, holding Nutcracker close, she soon fell fast asleep. Herr Drosselmeyer slipped into the room and raised his hands and cast a bit of magic. Bong! grandfather clock struck midnight. Marie stirred and rubbed her eyes. The Christmas tree was growing. Around her came a scampering of mice. Squeak, squeak! They were gathering like an army to attack. Their ruler was the Mouse King, who had 7 heads and 7 crowns. Marie held Nutcracker and ran as fast as she could. Nutcracker leapt out of Marie's arms and held his sword at the ready. Fritz's toy soldiers took their battle positions. Swords flashed and cannons fired. Boom, boom, and squeak, squeak. Nutcracker fought bravely, but the Mouse King was stronger. "No," cried Marie. "You shall not hurt him." Oh, she pulled off her slipper and threw it with all of her might at the Mouse King. With a hiss, the Mouse King sank to the floor. Gathering up their king, the mice dragged him away. From the shadows, Herr Drosselmeyer saw Marie's bravery. He raised his hands and the Nutcracker was transformed into a handsome prince. The prince bowed to Marie and placed the Mouse King's sparkling crown upon her head. "Come," said the prince. They walked through falling snowflakes to the waiting boat that flew them through the night. "Welcome to my kingdom," said the prince. "But where are we?" asked Marie. "Why, you are in the land of sweets," said the Sugar Plum Fairy, "coming through the gates of the kingdom. Welcome home, dear prince. We will have a party to celebrate your return." The Sugar Plum Fairy led the prince and Marie to the seat of honor. Coffee, chocolate, Chinese tea, marzipan, and Mother Ginger and her Polychanels danced for them all. Pink roses waltzed. At last the Sugar Plum Fairy danced. She seemed lighter than air. Too soon, it was time to leave. As they flew homeward, Marie asked the prince, "Will I ever see you again?" The prince replied, "One day your courage and kind heart will be rewarded. Do not forget me." "What are you doing under the tree, Marie?" said her mother the next morning. "Wake up," said Herr Drosselmeyer. Marie opened her eyes and hugged her Nutcracker. She whispered, "If only you were alive, I would not care if Fritz said you were ugly. I would love you anyway." Herr Drosselmeyer raised his hand, and the Nutcracker again became the Prince of Fairyland. The prince said to Marie, "The Mouse King imprisoned me under an evil spell. Because you love me no matter what I look like, his spell is broken. I have been returned to my true form." Years passed and the prince and Marie became engaged. After the wedding, they rode to the land of sweets in a coach trimmed in gold drawn by 4 silver horses. To this day, there are those who say Marie is the queen of a wondrous fairyland that only those who believe can see. The end of a Nutcracker.
The Night Before Christmas by Clement C. Moore. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hope that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled down for a long winter's nap, when out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprung from the bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave a luster of midday to objects below. When what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. With a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment that must be Saint Nick. More rapid than eagles, his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen, to the top of the porch, to the top of the roof. Now dash away, all. As dry leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky, with a sleigh full of toys, and St. Nicholas too. And then, in a twinkling, I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur, from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his sack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples so merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard of his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of his pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircles his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. Chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him, in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head, and soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside to his nose, and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, and his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim, as he drove out of sight, "Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night." The end.